How are you guys? Welcome back to Wargaming China. You know what this channel's about. So, I've been playing the Battle of Sha-he, the advance of the 106th Division, south from Zhejiang in early August 1938 to secure the town of Da'an, which is the next stop on the railway supply hub of the Nanchang Zhejiang Railroad. So, how did we get here? Well, let's recap Battle of Sha-he. As I was saying in my previous video, Matsuura's 106th Division took a week, 7 days of intense fighting to break through to Sha-he. Now, after this, the Chinese front line didn't collapse. It kind of folded along his sides and continued at his front. And even though the 101st Infantry Divisions, or elements of the 101st Infantry Divisions, would land on the other side of Mount Lu and drive on Xinzi. Xinzi wouldn't fall until the 21st of August, and on Matsuura's front and on the front of the 101st Army, facing the Chinese, chemical weapons were used. Not mustard gas this time. Seems to have been chlorine gas, tear gas, and the gas that induced sneezing and vomiting. The Chinese soldiers could only be given the same advice that British generals had told their humble Tommy over 20 years earlier. Try and cover all your flesh, and piss on a handkerchief and cover your face with that. So even though the Chinese were resorting to such desperate measures, the Japanese couldn't drive to Da'an on the Chinese right, couldn't break the Chinese right, and was having severe difficulties on the centre. By mid-September, Ma Huiling, the next town in the dry south after Sha-he, had fallen to the Japanese, and it was here that Matsuura's 106th Division was withdrawn to recuperate and receive fresh troops, which it did. It received troops from the 6th Infantry Division, which, as we all know, was being rebuilt after, in my previous channel, previous video Drowned Earth, I talked about what happened to the 6th Division, so it's easy to see how the 106 and 101st are both receiving reinforcements from the 6th Division. However, Matsuura's 106th Division would also get 2 extra battalions of artillery, and having rested in Ma Huiling for a week, he led his 106th Division towards Wanjialing. Now, in my previous video I said that Tang and Bo was in charge. Sorry, I've got that wrong. It was Zhang in charge, General Zhang. But the Chinese were like in 2 lines, as I've said before. So along this line, the Sha-he line, it was like one continuous line of 3 Army Corps with the Guangdong 66th and 64th and elements of the 64th Army on the Chinese right. Now, as the Japanese advanced on the Chinese right. They didn't link up, which meant that on the shoulders of the Japanese advance, there was a large element of Chinese forces intact on the Japanese left as they advanced between the left column and the central column. So with Matsuo now heading to give his right hook through Wan Jialing, we will see our next game. Hopefully I'll have to build a scenery for it. Will be him fighting his way in to the Wan Jialing valleys. Now if you looked at a map of the Battle of Wan Jialing, you will notice that my railway track and my road are a bit too close together for this far out of town, but you've got to squeeze a lot of things into a war game, and map-like precision isn't always doable. I got it as close as I could. As I said, it's turn 9, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll for the morale of the Japanese center. They've been under 105 fire, and let's see how they go. This is their first morale test. 2. That could be deadly for them. I don't know why my stand keeps moving. 2. Let's see. Zero isn't a casualty. 2. They're pinned down. Any minuses? 15 is elite, no, it's regular. All the survivors are in hard cover. So that 2 becomes 4. So it becomes 4 or more. No effect. Well, that's good. Now I've got to roll for the Guangdong troops. And I'll explain how this battle unfolded, this game unfolded. 2, same again, it's the second roll for them. So it becomes minus 1, becomes a 1. It's just regulars. Rout. So that's the Guangdong Army. The 66 Army on the Chinese right. So we've only the centre left. I'm going to call it a game. The Chinese are too. If the other morale roll hadn't failed, I'd still fight on. But now with the Chinese left flank collapsed and the right flank collapsed, and the centre having very little left. I'll use now and pull out. So how did all this happen? I threw dice where the Japanese would enter. 1 battalion of Japanese entered here, and 1 battalion came up the railway tracks. A 3rd battalion advanced from about turn 5 from this patch of forest. The Guangdong Army, the 66 Army, was basically cut off from the battle because of terrain and concealment. It couldn't really interfere with the battle, so the Guangdong Army, although these troops, although they were not really taking part in the battle, they were still getting the hammering because the Japanese artillery observers could see them. So I then decided to move them forward, but the Japanese cut through the jungle and Banzai charged them in the open, and that was the end of them. As I said before, I played with a full rapid fire regiment of Japanese, and played with 3 different Chinese infantry battalions, and each battalion I gave some regimental support. Then I gave the Chinese two 75mm guns and a 120mm mortar. The Japanese had 2 75s off table and a battalion of guns for rapid fire, 2 75mm and 1 105 way at the back there. And as soon as the Japanese artillery started to zero in, it really made a difference on the game. However, the thrust here on the right seemed to give the Japanese the greatest success. The Japanese crawled forward under cover of smoke until they got very close. Then Banzai charged close, assaulted the Chinese trenches with their battalions that were all set up in this tree line. They had plenty of support, and they made good progress, although costly progress. They lost two companies of infantry and their battalion gun to do it. The company that advanced, the battalion that advanced from the forest here is relatively still intact, but the company that came down the railway line is down to 2 and a bit companies, and it will be rolling from morale next if the Chinese inflict any more casualties on it. Now, this was a good game. I don't know if I'm going to go on to do the fight in front of Ma Huiling, or if I'll just do the advance from there of the 106. But as I said, I'm going to have to build a bit of terrain. Obviously, this is part of the Greater Battle of Wuhan still, and if you followed my campaign, this is the landward drive on the southern bank towards Wuhan. Okamura's 11th Army is also securing the cities of Ruoxi and I think it's Ruochang to the east of to the west of Zhejiang too, and the 27th Division is busy there. Now, when we look at Wenjialing, you might say, you sympathise this battle, because look, I don't really count the battles of Okamura's advance on Ruoki as a part of the Battle of Wenjialing. That's just where the Japanese were positioning themselves, and it also explains why the 11th Army couldn't throw all of its forces against the one line of Chinese resistance. Okay, I hope you liked that. It was a great game. I gave it 12 turns, but it only went 9. As you can see, it was a close run thing. I think if the Chinese had been a little bit, the Chinese couldn't have been more aggressive. Neither could the Japs in this game. I threw the Chinese into everything, just like the Japanese. As I said, the dice dictated the advance route of the Japanese, and it was a very good game. So thanks for joining me. See ya.